So if you're doing business in Hawaii, this is one guy you want on your contact list. Umi Akana is the force behind Pono Petroleum, a company built on values, grit, and hustle. He's a do-it-all, know-it-all kind of guy, and if he doesn't know it, he's gonna find out. He's gonna figure it out. Umi's the kind of person who can walk into any room and just click with anyone. He reads the room, adds value, and keeps it real. He moves different, goes against the grain, and makes no apologies for it. That's why people respect him. Umi, welcome to Hixecutive Sessions. Let's talk story.
Wow.
All true things.
All true.
You're a know-it-all.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is a little icebreaker for how we actually know each other. So there's more to it, but we got to know each other during COVID. Yeah, or we're pre-COVID. So long story short, I had a Toyota Tacoma. I think everyone has a Toyota Tacoma story, right? Every local boy has a Toyota Tacoma story. So I had a Toyota Tacoma, my first truck out of high school. I decided that I needed to paint it because a lot of the Toyota and the paint situation,
A little bit sunburned.
it was sunburned. It was like peeling. Wasn't a good look. And of course, I was in sales at that time, yeah, or still yet. I was in real estate sales, so talked to my brother-in-law about it. We're just in conversation, and he said, "Oh, let me check out my friend Umi." And I've heard of Umi before, and all good things, of course, but I've heard of him before, and I guess my brother-in-law Josh kind of made that formal connection with him, and I guess during that time there was a transition he was going through in his life, of course, but he had a little free time, so jack of all trades, master of all trades, he decided that he would make time for me and paint my truck. And I painted it with him. I prepped it with him, did all the things that, the good would do. But during that time, we really got to get to know each other, and I got to get to know the heart behind him and what he's about and his quirks, his positives, all those things. And this is what Hixecutive Sessions is. This is a platform. Of course, it's a power broking platform, the business platform. Because one, I don't feel like we have a real robust business podcast for Hawaii. So that's number one. But number two is to highlight and humanize the best and brightest in Hawaii business, and even abroad. So CEOs, deal makers, decision makers, politicians, leaders. Yeah. So Umi's here, and we're gonna hear a lot more from him, from his eyes, and that started it though. The whole truck thing. Did you think we'll be sitting here right now?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the truck was painted luau green, not army green, but luau green. But yeah, a lot of time, energy went into that, and a friendship was forced through that. But yeah, you didn't think we would be sitting here right now.
No.
Yeah. It's funny how those things happen.
It is. No. Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me to be here. Proud of you and what you've done to get to this point. We both, during COVID, it was a crazy time.
Yeah.
And I was looking at starting our business. I had just left, the family business. Your wife was, what was the correct term? Laid off.
I did almost.
Yeah, almost getting it out. Yeah, it was a lot of uncertainties.
Yeah.
And and looking back, maybe that time that we spent together, bonding, fellowshipping, just bouncing ideas off each other, was probably the start of why we're here.
Yeah. It was definitely like a highlight in my life, and of course your life. And I want to put another little joke out there, but when I first met Umi, he had hair. He had hair, but now there's a little glare. And surely after we got to get to know each other is when you started losing the hair. Did I add any stress?
Pretty sure you contributed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's okay, but bald is beautiful. To me, bald has been actually a positive for business. especially if you keep your hair, neat and stuff. I mean, it's distinguishing, right? Or you're scared, or it's one of those things where super scared, where they just submit. Oh yeah, yeah, whatever you want, because you look rough. You look rough and tumble, yeah, with the.
No, if anybody knows the Akana man,
Yeah.
you know it's either gonna be white or it's non-existent.
Or both.
Yeah, yeah, or both. I remember in like I was maybe 13, 14, and I just shaved my head just to make sure like I had a nice looking.
Yeah.
Because everybody said you guys not gonna have hair.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody was bald.
Your last official picture with hair was the kind family photos of Papalihua.
Oh,
Yeah, we have that on record. Your last
yeah.
known sighting of Umi's hair.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyways, bro, let's talk. Well, I don't want to talk real. We're gonna get into business, but again, the whole idea behind this is the heart of who we have on, and usually these people are high level business people. I consider you to be a high level business person. You wasn't.
I don't
before?
consider myself honestly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's something maybe we could talk about too. But
Yeah.
I never thought I would be here. I never thought we'd be having this conversation. I still don't consider myself, even though a lot of people may think that about me. But I'm just doing what I knew how to do, what I was taught how to do. I think I was very fortunate to come up in a family business.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff happened probably subconsciously.
Yeah. So when we're painting the truck, that whole experience, you were leaving a certain job for a certain company.
Yes.
We can mention the name if you want, but I guess for the business side of things, that's what kind of started this thing with your trucking company, with Pono Petroleum. Let's rewind a little bit. Prior to that whole trucking stuff, you have foundational things with your family, whether it's the trucking business, your parents. I know you don't mention your dad a lot. You mention your mom a lot. I met your mom, but do you think that background, that creative side, was like the steering wheel for who you are today and how you built your business? It seems like you think a little differently. So when was that? When did that spark? Like, oh, I think I kind of think a little different than most people. But explain about your family life, and I guess how you came to be, and how all that stuff.
Yeah. I guess in hindsight, it did start at an early age. Both my parents were entrepreneurs by the time the kids came around. My dad was in video projection, had his own company. He toured all over the world with a lot of big names, and like Sinatra.
Yeah. Well, wait.
I'm trying to start like from behind and then work forward. That's a long time ago. But yeah, he toured with a lot of big names. Rolling Stones, Kiss, Amy Grant comes to mind. But traveling all over the world, doing audiovisual work, and then coming home to do it here. I remember coming up at the Maha Bash, or birthday bash, or I lived backstage
At the show and at the stadium.
at the stadiums. Michael Jackson at the stadium, Gloria Estefan at the stadium.
I was kidding, got it, bro. Michael Jackson.
I don't know how old I was, but I was running around with a backstage pass.
Uncle Michael.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
No, and my mom, has her reputation precedes her. She's a singer, songwriter, actress. She's done a lot of work. She's written a lot of music.
Yeah.
So I just came up in that. I was fortunate to come up in that world and didn't realize it at the time. Had no idea.
Yeah.
My uncle started a trucking business, and my dad passed away at 50. I just graduated high school. It was kind of paved for us to head towards trucking. We were fortunate that my uncle took us and taught us the ropes. And I was just existing. I didn't know I was learning all these things.
Yeah.
I had no idea, you know.
You're just picking up things as you went, and some good things, some bad things.
Yeah, yeah, and that's life. And that equates to my life as a parent now. You know, watching the good things and the bad things happen, and how it's shaping and forming, and um, just very fortunate. And looking back from today, yeah, I played a big role in how we do business today, the way that I think. You know, I was taught to see problems before they happen,
Right.
and not just recognize them, but come up with solutions on the fly. And it's such a valuable trait to hold. And I, if I had to put a finger on it, that's probably when people tell me I think differently. I see the world through those lenses.
Yeah, so I guess like getting back to that whole creative mind. So okay, your mom, you wrote compositions, actress, all those things. She also wrote, like, it's not any kind song. She actually wrote like some bangers for the Peter Moon Band. I didn't love, yeah.
Island Love,
So-
Scene Fire,
Yeah, King
ALA,
ALA.
where it is.
Did she write like she ever write Moonlight Lady? No. That's another.
No, that's another one.
Okay.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
And really, I'd like to document all those and put them all together
Yeah.
for her.
And that's amazing. She was like commissioned. She was like commissioned to do it. Yeah, like, hey, Leo, we need a song, kind of a thing. Yeah. Okay, I'll write one up for you.
Yeah, you know, like I at that time I think Mountain Apple produced a lot of that stuff. So you know, I remember hearing John DeMello's name all the time.
Uncle John.
Yeah.
That was Kiala's uncle too. My wife Kiala.
Yeah.
That was her uncle at the time.
Because everybody's uncle, right? What an eclectic guy, though.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's a hammer though. You ever sit down and talk story with him? He's actually like, he's actually like, he looks eccentric. He's very artistic looking, but he's actually a really nice guy. Very smart. Very down to earth.
Yeah.
You know. So
Very smart.
you know, we're gonna bring him on here. Then you talk.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would. But yeah, no. So the creative mind sounds like it came from both of your parents, and just being kind of in that whole arena, literally and figuratively, you know, at all these places. Yeah. But because you know, I guess you're talented to the point where it's almost kind of like crazy talented, where you taught yourself how to be a diesel mechanic, right? And all these other trades, right?
Yeah.
Like no formal training, right?
Just a byproduct of being in the business. Yeah. I went to in high school. You know, we had the auto shop class, and that's I already had a taste of it, so I kind of went that way. In my senior year, I took a course at HCC for auto body. That's how I learned how to paint. But it's doing those things too that teach you maybe not only what you want to do, but maybe what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Being in the auto body industry, that our instructors straight up told us, like, you know, there's not too many old men in this profession. You know, you're dealing with a lot of chemicals, dust, inhalation hazards. There's all these things.
And when you're painting my truck, we did not have all the necessary PPE.
No.
I think I was more of the one. Oh no, I'm gonna put on a mask and you know, get all geared up and like, nah. Hold your breath. Or you put the shirt over your face. You can still see your eyes, but then after you came out of the paint booth, you still have set up the strip of paint right over your eyes. But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. But that's when I learned that I enjoyed doing these things. I enjoyed working with my hands. And I wanted to do it as a hobby. And I wanted to do it to work on my own things or help my friends and family, you know, fix car or, you know, paint a car or whatever. And that's it. Really, I enjoyed doing that stuff. It became more of a hobby.
But that was really good fun. And during that time, we got to get to know each other, and there was a transitional aspect that we kind of mentioned earlier. So tell us about that. Tell us how transitioning from one kind of dead spot and then going into the other. Because I saw you grow during that time. I saw that, you know, you sleep wasn't your best friend at the time.
Couldn't sleep.
Couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
You I think, you know, like any man, we want to provide for our family. And I'm assuming that was part of the struggle with anxiety, depression,
Yeah.
any other, you know, mental, physical health things that you're going through. But tell us about that whole transition from your eyes and getting the truck, leaving the other truck.
Yeah. When I left Akana trucking, you know, it was like a breakup, right? It's sad, it's disheartening, it's a lot of things. There's a lot of emotion tied to that, a lot of time.
Yeah.
It was hard. And then the family relationship, you know, would never be the same. So thinking about all of that, you know, was difficult. It kind of was a tipping point. Factor that into, we didn't know what COVID was going to be at that time. You know, it was just kind of,
They know they were gonna shut down the
it was just happening. And yeah, I needed to find a way to provide for the family. But I didn't want anything to do with trucks. I was so over trucks. I remember telling people, I don't want to see another truck. I don't want to work on another truck. I want to do something totally different and see if I can cut it that way. And just came to be, you know, one thing led to another. And somebody had a truck for sale, and another friend, dear friend who passed away during COVID, had work. He lined, you know, all these stars were aligning. And that's about the time when you and I were working on it. And then it came down to financing.
Yeah.
And how are we going to pay for it? Okay, the dream is coming together. The pieces of the puzzle are aligning. Financing. Who's going to finance this thing for us, right? And we even talked about hard money loans. So I got a crash course in business right off the bat, and it was scary, right? But the deciding factor was, if we're going to follow that, was if somebody would finance it, then we would do it.
Yeah.
And once we signed for that, it's on. It cannot fail, you know. And I think I've approached everything like that, with just this: failure is not an option.
Yeah.
And that can be a dangerous.
Yeah.
That can be a dangerous road to go down.
It's dangerous because you have that by all means necessary mentality.
Yeah.
Whatever gets in your way, you're gonna just plow through.
Yeah.
You know, but you mentioned earlier that you didn't want to get into trucks. Now, but you ended up getting into trucks. Did that have that initial mindset before you got into your trucking thing? Did that have anything to do with your role while you were at Akana Trucking? And like I guess that whole experience, did that have anything to do with, okay, I don't want to deal with another truck?
Yeah, I was looking at trucks, touching trucks all day long. I just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
Right? And
Babysitting trucks.
yeah, I definitely had a role in that decision. But also, I didn't want to be in the industry that cross paths.
Yeah,
you know,
with
to
some
some
of your
degree.
previous
Yeah.
and uncle.
But at some point, I realized we live in an island.
Yeah, you are
know,
gospel.
Yeah, things are gonna intersect at some point. And just letting them happen organically was the proof to me that this the path we're gonna go. I really didn't force any of that. A lot of it, again, very fortunate that things just fell into place.
Right.
And I think that probably a lot of it comes down to relationships. You know, people would hear, oh, Umi's doing this or Umi's doing that, and they call and say,
Umi's painting a Tacoma.
Umi's painting cars in his driveway. Yeah, see whatever Umi will do it. You know.
No, but to that point, I remember during that transition, you were doing all kinds of stuff because you were mostly not filled, but you stained with oil from head to toe. Usually, you have to basically put back on the tool belt Because your role at Akana was more managerial, I guess, right? And stuff.
It kind of it varied.
It varied.
You know, I joke about it. You know, and because it built character.
Yeah.
Like
I did. I did. I know about the character. You learned at the trucking yard.
from cleaning the toilets to everything, checking tires, learning how to drink, learning how to drink, learning how to be responsible. Like you know, those are the rules. You can drink.
Yeah,
You can drink, but you got to show up for work.
Yeah.
The old school mentality. You know, work was a priority. It was paramount.
Right. Work is, so for I think our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, work is the identity. Work is not just what you do by chance or to provide for your family, but work is who you are. So when you introduce yourself, and this is what I almost cannot stand now thinking about it. Like when you introduce yourself to people, what's one of the first questions they ask you? Like, oh, what do you do? I don't like that, because it's almost as if, okay, you're asking me, what do I do? As if that's going to be the determining factor for how much respect you're going to give me.
Or where this conversation is going to go.
Yes, or where this conversation is going to go. Or if this conversation is even going to go.
Yes.
If you even want to talk to me, just based on my occupation.
Unfortunately, and this is something, getting back to what you said about maybe mental health issues or depression, whatever it is. I did see a therapist at that time.
Yeah.
And one conclusion that we came to was that men in Hawaii, local boys, you know, we're kind of defined by who we are, by what we do, where we work. If you're a construction worker, if you're an operator, whatever it is, and that sets the tone for what your capabilities are, what the ceiling is.
Right.
Once I realized that, looking back now, I think that helped break the ceiling.
Oh, wait, no, you didn't break it. You made your own ceiling.
Yeah,
You cannot. You
and we
crafted,
do.
Yeah,
we do
exactly.
create these ceilings for ourselves. Yeah. So, and whether they're healthy or unhealthy,
Mostly healthy. Okay.
you'd think so. You wanna assume that you're setting healthy boundaries for yourself and your business, but all that needs to be evaluated.
I want to get back to that point. So, okay, so you broke the ceilings to and you redefined the ceilings, however you want to put it, and then the local boy, mentality is, okay, these are the sought after jobs you want to do, and nothing is wrong with them, because these are great paying jobs. You can make a great living, you can provide for your family. It's steady, but yeah, you're right. These jobs define them, and the whole commitment thing is like, okay, you can grab commitment, you can be a firefighter, or you go to St. Louis, you can be a cop,
Flight attendant.
Yeah, you fly it, and again, great jobs. But I think that the mentality that you stand for and you represent is that Native Hawaiians, local boys, can actually hold space in areas and arenas that we may have not been necessarily welcomed into, or that we are not, we're that's would be the first choice of area of expertise, right? And I'm talking about like white collared stuff, right? Being able to own, to lead, to build, not just being able to ride the wave, but actually design the surfboard, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you represent. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You see, no.
Native Hawaiians, local boys holding spaces in areas where they were not to be associated with, basically.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the case. How we got there, is a topic of conversation. I don't like to focus so much on the past and the how and the why and who do we blame.
Yeah,
for that.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and maybe that's reason for some of our rapid successes that have come, is I just didn't have time to focus on the past, and instead just focusing on how do we raise the bar, how do we always keep pushing it up, and the common courtesies and just values. People ask all the time, like, oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? And I'm happy to share, right? I'm happy to share with anybody about anything that we've done. And only thing I can share is our experiences, but it's the common things like answer your phone,
Yeah.
show up on time,
Yeah.
be presentable. The things that we were raised with, like, real simple, back to the basics type of things. And it opens doors, it opens possibilities, opportunities.
You're right. So as a previous music or a retired musician, I should say, that's the one thing. So I don't play music anymore. Obviously, I retired, but I think that's one thing that all these old timers taught me is stage presence. Is your uniform, it needs to be ironed, and so if the shirt flat iron, please don't get out of pay. But your uniform is to be ironed. Show up on time, and on time doesn't mean you show up right before the gig starts. It means you show up at least a half hour earlier.
My uncle always told us, if you ain't early, you late.
Yeah, exactly. It's so cliche, but it's really true.
Yeah.
But we kind of pick up the late habits here and there from our parents. And actually my dad tends to be a little late, but he can. My mom, it gets stressed out when she's like 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
But to your point, right, there's no like blueprint into, well, there is maybe for your situation, but the basics without even trying, you can control those things. But like for you and how you built what you built, what's your blueprint that you've kind of put together or formed?
Honestly, I don't exactly know what it is. I've tried to answer that question. I've tried to outline it for others too. But to be honest, what I've learned is that what works for one person or one organization or one industry does not necessarily translate to the others. And no matter how hard I try to implement something on someone else or something else, if it don't fit, it don't fit. But that's where we go back to the basics, to our values, to Hawaiian values. That's very common sense for me. The Ahupua'a system, everything's very black and white for me. Everything had a place, everything had a reason. There were certain jobs, there were certain responsibilities. If something fell out of harmony, the whole ecosystem didn't function as it was supposed to. And that just comes full circle with efficiency. We translate that to business. Once we realize failure is not an option, there is no second chances. It has to work. Efficiency becomes imperative.
Yeah. I agree. So I know I keep bringing up the moments from your transition out from Akana to now, but like you must have got a lot of flack for leaving. And I remember certain phone calls while we were working on my truck together, and going back to the stability of work and stuff. But I remember you being on the phone a lot of times, and people telling you, "Oh, what you doing?" Like, you got a lot of flack for it. Or is flack the word? I even know that.
Criticism, you so stupid.
Yeah. Because like, okay, let's be honest. There was an empire already built for you.
Whether it was for me or not,
Right.
wasn't for me to say.
They said it was for you.
Yeah, that was
You didn't. Yeah, you didn't decide on that. It was just implied.
Like that was for me to, or other powers.
Why the hell are they telling me that this is for me?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, as silly as it may seem, maybe to inherit something like that or be passed something down like that, maybe I was just scared of the responsibilities that come with that. And I felt like I didn't measure up. I wouldn't be able to handle it. Those probably played a role. That, and maybe it wasn't a win for me. I needed to prove it to myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
Which just is, like you said, hard head. right?
I think your heart has got to new places.
It has,
You know that like
maybe I went a long way.
yeah.
Uh,
Well,
but
long way, but really though, from the time you left Akana to getting your truck, which we can talk about that, but it was actually pretty quick. And quick meaning like a the course of like 4 years or less. The truck
oh
was
yeah,
after a couple years, and then Pono was maybe like a year following that or so, right?
yeah.
But
Actually, I think it was shorter.
yeah. But how was it? Say, you came from your uncle's trucking, but how was it running your own trucking business? What's some of the things that you had to like? Oh shoot, I didn't know actually. So this is what they were facing, and this is the now as the owner of my own trucking company, this is what I'm facing now.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was like I joke about it. It was the best time of our lives.
a little simpler
It
time.
was. I went from managing or whatever my role was there. Um, I don't know. There was over 100 pieces of equipment between trucks, trailers, forklifts, or yeah, whatever it was. I believe so. Um, uh, and then going to just having to manage one.
Yeah.
It was a vacation.
Yeah.
It was a vacation.
And
It
you
was.
made more money too, probably just managing one.
We made the most. I made the most money I made in my life to date.
Yeah.
At that time, and in the middle of COVID. So that was another thing. We by the time we got started, it was I think it was July or August of 2020. In the height of COVID, and we joked about it and said, well, if we could start a business in the middle of this, we can do anything.
Yeah.
But it defined us. Relationships, a lot of very important relationships were maintained around that time and helped with the successes. Getting work. I mean, getting work for one truck, really, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was, it seemed harder. And then once we did it, it was like, wow, okay, it's rolling. But then learning the business side, because that's one part I didn't really know. I'd rack up all these invoices and then, okay, what now?
I gotta go collect my money. Like,
Yeah.
is that just coming direct deposit?
They're gonna pay this? What if they don't pay?
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, like no, but it's a funny image because you went from managing like you said 100 pieces of equipment, and now okay, I'm just managing one truck, but I'm making way more money, less stress, you know. But I mean, you ever because now where you're at, and again we can talk about that transition now to Pono Petroleum. But you ever look back and you're like, oh man, I would give anything to go back to simpler times like that. I mean, is life more
I try not
complicated
to
now?
say that.
Right,
Try
right.
not to say that. Because all the struggles we went through or whatever, it's got us to where.
Right.
I know. I think people throw that around a lot. But I'm very careful about
Yeah.
what I put out.
I think people
Into
want
the
that to
world.
be a reality
Yeah.
for someone that's up. I think they want that to be a reality for themselves to pull you back down.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, unfortunately, there is a crabs in a bucket syndrome, which you've probably experienced so much going up, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Not so much. I wouldn't say I've experienced it so much, rather than I've witnessed it so much.
people know better than to do that to you, so because you're gonna beat them up.
No, I'm not. No. Who said that?
Nah,
No.
what?
I think that
Destructo.
comes with respect, right? Respect is it's earned, right? I think that's something aloha, right? Like people think aloha is free. No, it's earned.
Yeah.
You earn that, and then it's reciprocated. You give respect, you give aloha, you get it back. You don't, you get the same thing back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was, again, very, very fortunate to come across people that instead of pulled me down, pushed me up, whether they were from the bottom pushing up or from the top, reaching down and
Giving you a hand.
giving a hand up. I came across a lot of those relationships that they mean a lot to us.
So you've had the mentorship, and I think part of the rising up is someone that has already done it to now pour into somebody else And
That's
full
what we
memory.
need more of.
We need more of that.
That's what we need more.
We need more of that.
I think, just my opinion, my experience, right? We came from this era before me, even, right? Of maybe it was plantation days.
Yeah.
Maybe it was hard times around here. Hawaii was hard at that time, where you don't show that guy how to do your job because
It's a threat.
he might take your job. The union aspect of things, I think, maybe contributed to that a little bit, where this is my job, take my job, do my, what you're doing, trying to, it created this threat. Yeah. So the result of that is, a generation now that we have, again, in my own experience, it's hard to find people that are qualified to do what we need to do, that, can have the reputation and have the, attributes that we want to hire. It's hard to come across that, and when we do, we lock them down. And we take care of
you
them.
nurture that relationship. You nurture that the kind you and it's true though, because I know of instances where you do actually really take care of the families. However that looks like for you. But that's important because corporate. I think corporate life, where maybe we used to have that before in Hawaii, but from my experience, even working for a corporate company, we kind of lose that small mom and pop type of feel, right? Where we're saying we're family, we're all Hana and stuff, but this one person on the mainland that is pulling the strings, they are actually more in control of more than what we realize,
Yes, and maybe that provides, I like to say, maybe it's a false sense of security by having that job, that corporate job. Maybe you feel that you work at that big corporation, and the reality is, you might just be a number. You might be part of a wave that gets deleted one day. So when I realized that, it pushed us into entrepreneurship. It pushed us into an owner-operator business. But then I quickly realized that the ceiling again of an owner-operator operation, this will be the ceiling. If we want to go further than that, then we need to change our mindset. We need to grow.
So I feel like you learned this type of stuff after Akana, right? Because that customer, I don't want to call it customer service, but that more of that people side, that human side of things, was probably non-existent in your previous role. So I'm assuming along the way, you kind of picked that up, stepping into more of that leadership role. Of course, you're a family man, so that's already something that's going to automatically teach you how to be a man, how to be a good person. But I guess for yourself, is that now being this person where, okay, I have to make relationships, I have to build trust. How does that look like? How has that been? Is it something that comes natural for you? How do you establish trust, like, for where you're at?
Honestly, it was something that I worried about, right? Yeah. I judged myself on all of the screw ups over time, right? In the past, like, oh my God.
Tell us about that screw up.
No, we don't have enough time.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah. But maybe how does the saying go? We're not judged by our successes, but by our failures.
Yeah.
Or maybe vice versa, right?
Vice versa.
Yeah.
We're judged by how we handle success versus, in my opinion, for how you handle failures, because the success,
Depends what room you're in.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
There's a lot of variables, right? How you come off to that initial interaction, that first impression. I recently learned, I guess I knew this, but I was reminded of it in the Japanese culture, the Asian culture, that first impression is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll either take that impression, whether it's good, and maintain it, or if it's bad, they'll maintain that too.
You talking about like in the Japanese culture,
Specifically in the Japanese culture was what I was reminded of. Down to the way that you hand out a business card, the way that you show up presentable, whether you're late, all those things. So how do I build trust? I am the product, right? I am trying to, how I present myself, how I show up. If you cannot do that to begin with, how do you expect somebody else to trust you?
Yeah.
Secondly, probably confidence, being confident in yourself. And that was something, I wasn't confident in myself, until I got a notch in my belt, and I got one more notch in my belt. And I I kind of built my own confidence. Um, and then having those people that stood there and told you, bro, you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. You can do it. I was my biggest
Biggest
critic.
critic. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, no, I can't.
No, I remember. So I remember we had a conversation about this where, like, you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the sense of insecurity, like you didn't feel like you were worthy of walking into certain rooms.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And it's like, that's Umi Akana. Like, no ways. Umi's the man. Umi can handle it. And maybe I was one of those hype mans,
Yeah,
and
you were.
I'll take a little.
I was talking about you. Yeah. And there's a couple other people that, yeah.
No way, this is Umi Akana. Like, listen, no, this guy's legit. So yeah, I mean, so where did that insecurity come from initially? Because I don't think it's really there now. Maybe
I
we still kind of
I could
struggle.
be wrong.
You
No, I
still
could be
struggle.
wrong. But I think maybe it's cultural.
Yeah.
As Hawaiians, like you said, that maybe we don't feel like we belong.
Yeah.
In
And afraid to
certain
ask.
arenas.
Afraid to ask too.
Afraid to look stupid. I used to say all the time that there's no such thing as stupid questions, just stupid people with questions. And that's terrible. It's horrible. I can't believe I said that. I know to someone, and but it breeds that mentality, breeds that type of response. And as much as we need people supporting, we need people not perpetuating that type of.
Yeah, it's like that lack mindset, that insufficient mindset.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where like, again, I think I know you. A lot of people don't know you and where you've come from, and what you're doing now. But as far as like how you've been able to overcome that, though, like, besides the hype man, I mean, what are you doing now to build your confidence and push through all those things, and now not even having any type of anxiety of like, yeah, I'm gonna walk into this room, I'm gonna be good. Like, what are you doing as far as like mental health, spiritual health, physical health? Because all those things to me plays a role in how we, like you said, present ourselves, how we show up for our families. So, like, what have you been doing for that, or if any?
Yeah. My biggest motivator is family. We got engaged recently, and hopefully by next summer we'll be married. I wouldn't want to do any of this stuff if I didn't have somebody or some buddies to do it for. I'm pretty confident when I say that. And I know that because I've met some older businessmen, very well accomplished, successful businessmen who, like in one instance, him and his wife were unable to have children. So children was just out of the question for him. Very successful. And I found myself questioning, like, wow, this old man, what gets him up every day? What gets him going? If I didn't have my wife and my kids to go to war for, I don't know if I'd go to war. I might just go down the beach and count sand all day.
Cool, you can do that forever.
Yeah, right. Like I might just been, and nothing wrong with that, right? Yeah, like, but that's my biggest motivator. Wanting a better education for my kids than I had, wanting to expose them to all the things that I got to experience as well. In Hawaii, that costs money.
Yeah.
It does cost money. So currency, right? I think we talked about currency, and this was something that was shared to me by some of the guys at the Hawaiian Water Patrol. You know, and they have this little ethos that it's not little, it's an ethos that they operate by. And again, it leads back to Hawaiian values and aloha, currency of aloha, pono currency. And I never realized that that's how we operated. Like but I think it's ingrained in us. You know, it's just something that was at least it was taught to me. To hear that somebody else thought the same way and that they actually outlined it, and it was affirmation that, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
You know, especially at that level, those guys always looking up to them. But what else do we do for that, to maintain that? And physically, you know, keeping active, construction or you're fixing trucks or whatever. It's a physical, it's a physical job. So that kept us at least a little bit healthy.
Yeah. You're wiping it, and this guy, he's very, very, very zen.
Again, a hobby. I wish I had more time.
Whereas I take my truck to the what is that, the washing or the car wash out in by the water. No, you take your time.
Spend the whole day polishing.
But it's good exercise.
What a year you?
It's good exercise though. But getting back to the currency thing, so one thing that I like with what you mentioned about the currency, and I'm not sure if this is what they're saying with like aloha currency, but one thing that I try to do is aloha can be a form of currency, but it shouldn't be something where you are doing it because you're expecting something in return. Because if you're keeping track of all these things, okay, I did this, okay, I expect something for him to do something, then it becomes a transaction history, right? More than anything else. So I think if most of us, if we get into the more of that mindset where we are not expecting anything in return, okay, we're gonna help so and so get to where he needs to get to. If he doesn't come back and return the favor, it's all good because I know I did something for him. But yeah, in my opinion, for the currency side, if we can be more like that, I think this world will be a better place. Hawaii will be a better place. You know, and I'm not sure what the Pono currency thing would look like, but kind of all the same. It falls all into that. But I'm fascinated by that because to me, and this is probably what you've done without really realizing it, is I think that's how you've been running your business. That's how you've been running your life.
Yeah.
You know, you've been giving without expecting favors back. You would like the favors back, of course. But yeah, I just want to say that.
Yeah. No, I think the Pono currency is recognizing the same values that you embody or you share, recognizing that in someone else or another organization, and then just feeling that need to fill the gap that that person or that organization is needing at the time. And I think that comes back to like just Hawaiian values, the barter system that we used to have. You know, take money out of the equation. You know, trading. Our family was fishermen. You know, trading fish for kalo or pig or whatever it was. You know, I remember that. Like I remember catching fish and we go drop it off and come home with something else.
Yeah.
And
sometimes, you know, come on with it. Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes they just got a $50 pound slab of oil. It's all good. It's all good.
So business, unfortunately, business can't be. How does that equate to business, right? And that's what we've been trying to figure out. And at least for us, you know, I just had this conversation this morning about service, and you know, I said, hey, I know we talked in the past, cost was an issue for you. You know, cost is still going to be what it was with the last time we talked, but the service I can guarantee, you know. And he said, yeah, but I know the service is not going to be forever because eventually you'll take on more responsibilities and I'll get the phone call that, you know, I can't make it today. I said, well, if that happens, then that's our fault. Then we failed you as a service provider.
Right.
And if we do fail to do that, then we're no better than our competition. So, I think that was the hook. And that's where you can justify cost.
Yeah.
And being Pono, being responsible for what you said you were going to deliver on at the time you said you were going to deliver on it equals to the monetary currency, the monetary compensation that your business needs. Same with a bank, right? They try to pay the note.
Yeah.
They're not joking, but everybody needs to, and we need to draw those lines. And that's where, for us, the budgets for profits into reinvesting into community, reinvesting into organizations that we want to perpetuate those kinds of business practices.
Have you, so on that note, have you been philanthropic in how you guys have not just run your business, but more of the fruit? Have you guys been able to pour into anybody or anything currently or in the past?
Yes, the answer is yes. There's a few organizations that we're dedicated to, and I wish there's more that I wish we could be more dedicated to, right? But yeah, that is something that brings me validation. Obviously,
And you get to, not like you have to.
yeah,
You get to.
we get to that brings the validation the full circle.
It's fun. It's fun.
It really is.
You do a lot of stuff that people don't even know about too.
Yeah, and that's intended to be that way.
And exactly, and to me that's even more fun.
Yeah,
Because who's this private donor that just took care of this, took care of that? Like, don't worry about it.
yes, yeah. And we don't do it for recognition or ROI.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's just things that.
Oh, the ROI is for the man above, right?
Yeah,
You know, that's the. I mean, you're not just trying to do good deeds, but yeah, you know what I mean.
It will come.
Yeah,
it will come in other ways, all right. Yeah. No, there's a lot of organizations, and with more successes, hopefully we can invest in other.
Yeah. So we talked about a lot of like the good things you're doing, and when I introduced you earlier, we talked about going against the grain, and he's a know-it-all, and if he doesn't know, he'll fight. Sorry, it was a joke, but kind of true.
It is.
But like what's your biggest going against the grain move to date?
Oh,
From what you can share. So
going against the grain, I guess, just questioning authority. We okay.
specifically.
No, and I'm not gonna say biggest, but like here's a simple thing, right?
Like, give us an example.
We went to a meeting the other day, right? And at the receptionist, you sign in, and there was a sign that said, "Please remove your shoes." And there was a shoe rack there, and I said, "Oh, okay, shoes right here." And the receptionist told me, "Money, take them off." I was like, "Oh, okay, right on." So I went to the meeting, and we did our thing, and everybody was leaving, and they're all hustling to put their shoes. Like, how did you get your shoes on so quick? I said, well, I never took them off. They said, why not? I said, well, I just asked. I just asked.
And even if I asked and she told me,
No,
I would have left my shoes on.
I would have taken it off. But I was just saying, where do I put it? But
yeah.
I guess what I'm getting to is that if you don't ask, you don't get. Right. Even if you think it's against the grain or it's a silly question, obviously do your homework. Don't be going around just asking stupid questions. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
Don't be afraid to go outside, or I think that is something as humans, maybe we kind of have that sheep mentality.
Yeah.
I see one person doing it, you can expect that we all have to do it that way.
Right.
How I look at things, and if I see it's inefficient or if there's
How can
a
it be?
reason why. Yeah, why? Wait, why are we doing that? Question authority.
Yeah.
I think we've been trained to not question, just
Right.
to be submissive.
And you can question authority in a respectful manner.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
you don't have to. You can lay the truth gently. You don't have to, cause a ruckus. You don't have to be lawless.
No,
You can question authority.
and
You should question authority.
we should, respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully.
And looking back now too, I think that has opened some doors for me, because you stand out when you ask a question like that, and people recognize that. And luckily for me, they've been good questions. And
Yeah, I think people will recognize that in a way where it's not okay. Yeah, maybe they'll commend you, but I think it's like it gives them a sense of like hope and comfort, like because especially when it comes time for you having to advocate like for other people. But has there ever been a time like that where all those things you talked about where you were able to display that, like, okay, I'm gonna stand up for the little man, I'm gonna stand up for so and so. We kind of talked about that earlier about pulling people up, but going against the grain wise and that whole spirit of like you want to question the big dogs and stuff.
yeah, it sounds like you have a particular instance in mind.
Yeah. I just want to hear about the time when you
Maybe there's a. I don't know. Has there been so many that I forget?
you know what? Let's switch gears. No, let's talk about Pono.
But I can come into that a little bit. And I never picked up. No, I've never picked up. I've always been told, oh, do you know who Umi is? Do you know?
That's why I said earlier. There's a contact you want on your phone, Umi Akana.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
it predates Umi, right? And then I'm reading about Umi Aliloa,
Yeah.
who and I'm named after, and all the things that Umi Aliloa did, and who he was, and what he stood for. And I'm reading this, and I'm going, "Holy,
Be careful what you name your children, especially if it's in Hawaii.
yeah, no, it really is true. I believe, we believe it.
Consult a professional before he could be judged.
And Umi was known as, like you said, that Robin Hood type of mentality. He stood up for the little man. Like all the things you just said are word for word what is in Ruling Chiefs of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this going, oh, wow, this is amazing.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. Maybe it's validation too, like that. Hey, keep going, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing it respectfully. Keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to question authority. I've been criticized for it as well, especially when I was younger, because and that was something I battled growing up too, right? Because
Easier to be seen but not heard. But then you were heard.
not your time.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
and I think I was matured. I matured quickly. Grew up. Friends are always a little bit older than me. I had older role models around, so I had this misconception that it was my time.
Yeah.
So, early. Yeah, and that's hard to deal with too.
No, but I like that. So like for more of my approaches, is always a real more diplomatic, build relationships, massage. We all gonna get along. We all gonna kumbaya.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute. But there needs to be some of me, and there needs to be some of you.
There is.
And because we all cannot be that. We all cannot be say more on this side.
And that's what I was thinking of coming here today was balance.
Yeah.
How do we find that balance, right? It's surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals. Everybody likes to say that. Sometimes it's surrounding ourselves with opposing opinions.
100%.
And again, I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have those relationships, very close relationships that I can throw things at the wall all day long. And most times I'm the pessimist. I surround myself with optimists and then I just shoot down ideas, right? But together we weed out, a lot of the bad ideas, and then the cream at the top becomes a viable option.
That's true. Surrounding yourself with people that have opposing views, it's always pretty healthy. And then also too, like if I'm the smartest one in the room,
Well,
there's something seriously wrong with this picture.
yeah.
And for you, I mean, you're a smart, intelligent guy. You've taught yourself many things that people need to go to formal training and formal schooling for. But it seems that you prefer to have that opposite views so that you can even learn even more. And I'm glad I can do that for you.
I'm glad you.
Yeah. But anyways, I wanna not switch gears, but I wanna transition into, we went from trucking. We're still kind of on trucking because this is all, to me, this is like, it's your calling in the sense where, it's not necessarily your occupation, but it's forming you as a person, right? And I think that's one credit to trucking that you could probably, maybe give. But then you started your own gas distribution business, Pono Petroleum. And it's funny because the transition out of Akana, you had the new truck on your own, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm delivering gas, and I'm an oilman. You know those oilmen that wear their in Texas where they wear their cowboy hats and they're oil rich. That's it. But yeah, how did that come to be? And you keep saying, I want to get out of trucking, want to get out of trucking, but you find yourself deeper into trucking.
Yeah. Trucking, when I say trucking, I mean transportation in general.
Okay.
Transportation in general is very difficult, especially out here.
Yeah.
To do. There's a lot of regulations, there's safety things involved.
PUC numbers and all that.
Yeah, that's a sensitive subject.
Sorry.
But yeah, but since you brought it up, there's regulations, there's pricing, right? There's rates that are supposed to be adhered to. They're set by governing bodies who, maybe they don't have the best
They're
barometer of what
they're out of touch with what's actually going on.
and maybe that's just those bodies in general, right? Like government, our rule makers, our lawmakers, do all of them have all of our best interests in mind? And how do we build something that benefits everyone?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't see myself getting into politics, because these things, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard. But being in Hawaii is a specific, very different market from trucking in the mainland. And I've got a little taste of what happens on the mainland too, and it's very difficult. So transportation, when I say trucking is hard, it's very hard.
Yeah. A lot of liability involved too. Yeah.
A lot of risk, a lot of liability, insurance costs, competition. It's a very competitive market.
It's not to cut you off, but do you think the trucking industry, do you think it's political? Do you think there's certain big players that obviously stand out than the rest? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Definitely there are the big fish and there's the small fish. I think one cannot live without the other.
Yeah.
At least it's been my experience.
Sometimes they complement each other, way.
Yeah. You have it's basically a general contractor subcontractor relationship. And the people who cultivate those relationships will find success in that business, in that industry. There's nothing wrong with that, but when the lines get blurred and it becomes hard. Yeah, it becomes hard. So the regulations that are supposed to be in place to keep the lanes clear don't necessarily do their job. It becomes difficult. Yeah. So that was our reason for, at least for the dirt hauling side.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on from that and move into petroleum, or invest more in petroleum.
Right.
How we got into petroleum, when I was coming up, I was told that we don't participate in that. Like, that's not our lane. Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
You know,
This is your against the grain move. It's another one.
it is. Yeah. I guess so.
Go on.
But the opportunity came, and it came through a really good friend who basically just said, hey, we're in petroleum. I'm in petroleum. It seems to be doing pretty well. I think if you were to do it, you could complement what we're doing, and you should give it a shot. I think it would be good, and that's what I mean about that person lifting you up. Having people around you.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, and then nothing is foolproof. Nothing is guaranteed, right? So taking those ideas and just bringing it to fruition, that falls on us as Tihani and I building that company. And you asked earlier about how do I get people to build trust? How do I build trust? How do I get people to trust? It was easier when or not easier when, but it was easy for me when I had Tihani
Being that person.
She was the front. Like, she's literally the face of the company.
And she's still trying to learn herself too. It's like, bro, you're just pushing me up front.
Yeah.
It is.
And I loved it, right? The whole idea. And not only us, but like people who invested in us loved that story too. They loved that idea. Our customers, they wanted to support a small local business that was started from the ground up. They didn't mind the cost wasn't as competitive, maybe a little bit more. The service was there. They're supporting a local business, and that got us off the ground.
Yeah. So I keep, sorry, I'm not trying to prod into like any illegal stuff or what, but I think we like to be transparent in it and stuff like that. But the trucking industry, I think there's a certain stereotype with the trucking industry, and a stereotype I don't really know if it's true now, but they're a little more rough and tumble, a little more like Wild Wild West type of, and again, stereotypes probably not true, but any shady deals or unspoken rules in the industry that you've had to navigate that you want to share.
Definitely, right? Yeah, definitely. There weren't. You didn't have to go to school. You didn't have to go to school for 4 years or 8 years to be a truck driver. Yeah, right. At least in my family, right? Not only on Oahu but on the Big Island, trucking came with the ranch lifestyle as well. The farm,
Paniolo.
yeah. That was a byproduct. Trucking was a byproduct of the farm business, heavy equipment, machines, all of that stuff. It's all big equiment.
Yeah.
It all played in.
Toys.
Yeah. And that cowboy lifestyle is no joke.
Yep.
Yeah. So they are a little rougher. They are definitely tougher.
That's not even a stereotype. It's true.
It's true. Yeah. I commend those, and that's something I tell Tihani. I'm like, cowboys is different.
Oh, dude.
If you get up before work to go feed animals, you got a job before you even go to your job.
Yeah.
Then you go do your job all day. Then you come home and take care of those animals, and it's dark to dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always respected that, and that I don't lead that lifestyle. Like, I hopefully one day, we can participate in that.
That's kind of the end goal. But yeah, that first one up, last one down.
Yeah.
Type of mentality where after the brandings they can drink all night, kanikapila all night till wee hours, and then be the first to show up at your door, knocking on the door. It's like, hey, when we going? What's going on?
I didn't do that for 10 years and retire, or that's a lifetime.
Wow. And then Willie Andrade,
the next
roping horse
generation
not
does
this. Yeah, it's crazy.
I was lucky to be surrounded by that kind of stuff. Not totally, but yeah. So I guess you're right. You know, that lifestyle does equate to construction, trucking,
Yeah.
heavy equipment. Um, they're not they're not weak.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
weak
Yeah.
weak industries to
Yeah.
be a part of.
Did you say weak mentally?
A weak mentality.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not a weak mentality, right? It's a very hardcore mentality. Um, as far as
and you gotta be you have to be the type where you can, if you're gonna enter that industry not knowing that industry, you gotta be tough yourself and be able to take whatever comes your way,
yeah,
whether it's hazing or whether
oh yeah. But that, like I said, builds character.
it's character. And that's, it makes sense though. That's kind of the way you are, like you have that tough guy mentality, but you're a very emotional creature too.
Mahalo.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. But anyways, okay. So did we cover Pono enough though? Like, cause I think the day-to-day operations is much different than what you're used to. Yeah. So like, what is your typical day being an oilman? Would you call yourself an oilman?
No, I would not.
Okay.
I wouldn't call myself any
Gas
other
man?
things you've called me today.
You call yourself a gas man?
I just one
Fuel boy.
one, I, one pocket Hawaiian driver. Maybe that's what I see guys
Yep.
bad.
Yeah.
But yes, all these things, right? We've graduated to these things, but the I guess the petroleum industry, it's such a different industry. It's
Different clientele, different mindset, different, like, just people, players involved, like what?
I would say and this was from a mentor in the petroleum industry that explained this to me. And the barrier of entry into this industry is very high.
Yeah.
There's only so many people doing it. The costs associated with doing it are very high. The risks associated with doing it are very high. It might look attractive, but it's
Looks sexy from the outside.
it's very very risky. And then for me, for us, for Tehani and I starting Pono, the reason it was called, we joked about it. Kale and I came up with that name in his kitchen one night after
It's a little
partying all night. Yeah. You should start one gas company. And, because maybe the petroleum industry it's a bad rap for whatever reason. It's dirty. At that time, Red Hill was a thing. And we'll call it Pono Petroleum. And that'd be funny. So when the time came to start it, and we actually came to the name, I said, I think we're gonna call it Pono Petroleum.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first one to say, that's awesome.
Dude, if you're gonna name your company Pono Petroleum, like, how can anyone be mad at you? How can anyone?
Oh, easy.
Is that what you're kind of going for? Like, if I name my company Pono Petroleum, they know I'm righteous. I'm not gonna make waves. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be nice.
At least in the wet hosing, which is the sector we got into, right? And wet hosing is putting fuel directly into whatever piece of equipment it is, right? And there's benefits to that, and it mitigates spills, potential for spills. And that was a big thing for us with the environmental hazards associated with petroleum. Us being in Hawaii and caring about Hawaii and how our environment is being mishandled. If we could provide a service an exceptional service that gave our customers peace of mind that none of that stuff was happening, and it was being handled responsibly. Pono wasn't just a name; it's a lifestyle. It's a value that we live by outside of our business. So it just equates to our operation.
I don't know if you're willing to share, like, even like in the trucking industry side versus the fuel side, like, what kind of money is to be made in that, like, and I guess then that can segue into something else. Like, what's your biggest win? What's your biggest deal? What's the worst deal that fell through, or what? If you want to expand on that.
So for trucking, for us, for our experience that we had in Akana Brothers construction and hauling aggregate, at least, right? Like very specific sector of trucking. The ceiling was there. You know, we most likely we charged by the hour. So there was only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
You could only make so many dollars per hour, you know. So probably within the first 6 months, I figured out this is what we can do. And we maximized that by running the truck nighttime, running the truck daytime. And the ceiling was very apparent. It was very clear.
Yeah.
Being an owner operator, it put me in the seat. It took me away from doing things like this and growing the business. So again, another ceiling put on ourselves. I think Marco Iwohi is
Iwohi trucking.
Yeah, Iwohi trucking, and Mark, you know, who's passed away, but something that he was quoted saying long time ago that we always talk about is he would say it's either 2 or 20. You know, you can make money at 2.
Meaning 2 trucks.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. You make money with 1, 2 trucks. From 3 to 20.
Yeah.
It's rough. You know, once you get 20 of them, you're doing well. You know, you get back in the seat.
Does everyone get along in the trucking industry? Kind of.
I like to think so. I think so. I never had a problem with anybody.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Everyone stays in their lane, like literally and figuratively. Everyone just kind of stays in their lane.
Yeah.
Ish.
It's very competitive.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say that, right? But I think I've been around it long enough to know how to stay competitive.
Right. And not like competitive in a way where it's combative, right? It's like,
No.
you know, okay, now brother got the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll get the next one.
You've been doing for how much? I might call you and be like, Brand, how much you gonna do that job for?
Yeah.
Oh, and $100. Yeah, doing for 90. You know, or whatever it is.
People are willing to share that, like, cause you don't want to give away your cards, right? If you're trying to compete.
But it's toy. We all going.
Yeah.
You know, the better man. At the end of the day, how do you combat that? Right. Your next question, right? So for me,
The service.
the service, the reliability. If I had to fix my own truck, I stayed up the whole night fixing my truck. Lucky I knew how to do all that.
Right.
You know, I'd fix my own tires, change my own tires until I could afford to pay somebody else to do.
Yeah.
You know, but I had those skills. So for somebody else, you know, that didn't have those skills, that was overhead that they incurred right off the top. And for me, everything that I had to pay somebody else to do was chipping away at our profit.
Right.
Pretty simple.
Wow. So getting back to the question. So your biggest win, biggest loss, or you know, biggest deal, or the worst deal
in trucking, for the trucking side,
in truck professionally in trucking, with Pono, that you're willing to share.
Well, we'll mix them. So Pono, our biggest deal, our biggest success, probably the reason we're sitting here today, was the opportunity we got to service a contract at Pearl Harbor. You know, they're building a new dry dock out there, and my phone literally rang one day, and somebody asked if I would be willing to do this, and I declined over and over again because it was too big for us. It was way too big. And you know, I again very fortunate that man who called insisted that I come to his office and talk to him, and I went there with every intention to turn him down because I wasn't gonna bite off something I couldn't chew.
Right.
I wasn't gonna take the cost for guessing wrong or betting on that wrong could be the end of business in a matter of days or weeks. You know, cash flow has to be king for us, and if we weren't able to flow cash, we would die instantly. So that was a huge gamble, and it paid off. Luckily, it paid off. And that was the biggest, probably the biggest jump, the biggest
Yeah.
pill to swallow. And then maybe the worst deal was, working with these mainland contractors that, not the Pearl Harbor contractors, but other, big construction contractors that come out here, and the payment terms that they dictate, you know, being paid in 60, 90, 120 days,
Basically when they feel like it.
180 days, is not uncommon in trucking.
Sounds like real estate.
Yeah. There's nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's for certain. So, um, we did encounter that. Luckily, we had the financial backing to weather the storm, but it only took one time for me to learn my lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You basically watch who you do business with. I mean, sometimes you just take whatever comes, right?
And that's a scary place to be in business, when you're forced to take the less desirable work, just to survive.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I had to answer that question for
I
myself.
agree 1,000%. So, even if sometimes that less desirable work will pay big dividends, and sometimes that's not even worth it.
Yeah.
No matter how much you're going to get paid from that big job, that big commission for this big property you're selling, because you have to work under certain terms for certain people, sometimes it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been kind of learning is like, no, not every deal is a good deal. And sometimes it's best just to turn it down, no matter if it's going to be life-changing as far as money.
Yeah.
Because now you're worshiping the money, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, the money, I need the money.
Yeah.
But, money is a horrible master. It's an excellent servant, though. And it seems like, you guys have been really taking off and doing things the Pono way, also giving. And once you start to give and you start to pour into other people, that money is not your master. Your job is not your master, that you are using that as a servant. So I commend you guys for what you guys are doing. I want to mention that you guys are actually mentoring now other people. And in fact, we're going to meet up for lunch after this. So you can talk briefly about that. And then after, just give some words of advice that you want to leave everybody with. Sorry, that was a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I like the multiple choice.
Yeah. We just had to talk about this. Like, hey, try tighten up the question.
Yeah, mentorship. I never thought of myself as a mentor.
Yeah.
How could I mentor somebody else? I'm still learning.
Yeah. Exactly. So then the mentor needs mentoring.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
But I was lucky to be involved with the Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce, and luckily, again, very fortunate to be on the board of directors this year. I was asked to be a participant in this mentorship program that they have, and
big names on that board.
I know, that's crazy.
You mentioned their names.
Of course, the director didn't mention that all these people were going to be involved. He just asked if I wanted to participate.
You thought it was going to be like a cute little mentoring program. But man, you see all these big names like, wow, Umi Akana, Neil Hannes,
Hala Akana. Yeah. Just, wow. Yeah. So, also why, once I was involved, too late, I find out the day out, right? Like, okay. But great validation that we're doing something, right? And then a great motivator too, that, hey, I don't know what I can offer, but please, whatever I can, then, please take it from me. So we're taking off on that, and I'm hopeful for that program. I think it's gonna go well. The turnout was really good. I got a hell of a mentee.
Yeah.
The boy's more accomplished educationally than I ever was or will be.
You get the School of Hard Knocks though.
Yeah. but he's got a lot of school under his belt, so I think he'll do very well. And however I can help perpetuate.
And bro, you belong on that list of people.
If you say so.
No, you do, bro. You do. When I was first introducing it, the Hixecutive, like, a lot of these big names, a lot of these CEOs, high level business people. I don't know if I mentioned it in this one or the last one, but they seem to be untouchable. They seem to be kind of boring, to be honest, and out of touch. So, but when you think about all these people, they're just regular brothers. A lot of them.
Yeah.
They're not any different than you and I.
Yeah.
They have big kuleana
Mm-hmm.
that makes them different.
Yeah.
And stuff. But anyway, so last few words of advice that you want to leave everybody with.
Yeah. I wish I wrote down the quote.
We know it. We know it.
I wish I wrote it down, but it's Liliu, you might know it. And I don't know it word for word, but
It's a chant.
it's very simple. It's very short, and it's about never fear to try or fear of failure. Don't be afraid to try or to venture out for fear of failure. I should know the exact word. Maybe we can edit that right. But that is something, I've always wanted to put it on my email signature.
Yeah,
but again, I'm like worthy. I'm not worthy to put.
No, you worthy. You worthy.
Yeah, but if nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
If we don't try anything,
Mm-hmm.
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
And utilize. Don't be afraid to ask. Utilize the opportunities that are available to you, and you never know where those opportunities may lie or come from. Don't be afraid to speak things into existence. I think people you say, I don't believe in that.
Manifestation.
Manifestation.
Yeah.
And my justification for that mentality is you never know what year what you just said is going to land in. And for me, it's happened a few times where I've talked about something, it's landed in the right ear. They may not even have said anything to me, but they repeated it to somebody else who said, that's a great idea. Connect me with that person. And through Coconut Wireless, call it, whatever it is, right?
Right.
But if I never said that day, it might not have come to fruition.
So it's not even like in that sense, it's not even like really, it's just how you speak your language. And it gets into the ears of the right person, it takes off and it does its thing. But I think you change your language, you change your life. You speak highly of yourself. You have a goal that you are speaking about, like, no, I'm gonna do this, and you speaking that out, I think it validates and it reconfirms your goal, and just busting through those barriers, which you've done. So
Thank you.
yeah. Keep going. Anyways, brah, thank you so much for being here. You're the first of hopefully many.
I hope so.
So yeah, and again, we're super blessed to be at Huakale Country Club. They're hosting obviously the location, and look, bruh, like seriously. So yeah, very very blessed to be here. And of course, if you guys are interested in membership, let me know. I've been a member since 2021. Best decision I've ever made. All right, take care. Aloha.